If your partner does something sketchy in life, does that mean you can be sued? I would assume yes.
Well, absolutely, right? I mean, if you're partners, so let's talk about partnerships and who gets sued. First, on a footnote on what Rob was just talking about there, and many of you have seen my math on this before, you should be thinking about your earning potential, and you should be multiplying that by 25 on average, and that should be your life insurance amount. The vast majority of Canadians are radically underinsured. They have this sort of outdated concept of, well, as long as I leave the house paid off, that'll be fine. Really? Really? Will it? Will it be fine? In most cases, no, it will not. And as mortgage brokers, many of us wind up working with typically widows because dudes do dumb stuff, so dudes check out early. Ladies are much smarter, they last a lot longer. And we wind up working with widows who their husbands had policies, their partners had policies. Maybe the house was paid off, but now we're doing an ETO because the kids want to go to college. Life is expensive. It was a bigger house. Trying to keep up with the expenses was a challenge. So, you know.
You say 25 times. So if a broker feels that they're going to be earning $1 million a year,
well, that's
gross.
That's extreme because
Sure.
there's a lot of leftover money there.
Sure.
But I think if you're earning 100
Let's say
grand,
200 grand.
200 grand, yeah, you should have 5 million. Why not? I mean, think about the lifestyle you're living at 200,000 a year. You've probably qualified for $1 million mortgage. So right there, you got $1 million mortgage to pay off, in theory. Poof, there's $1 million gone. And if you had $4 million left over and you invested that and got in GICs, let's say, and got a 5% return, there's 200 grand a year. So you've replaced the income.
That's right. Yeah, smart. Smart. With respect to early renewals or refinances with a certain red lender, a friendly reminder, they only pay on the net new funds regardless.
Correct.
Whether the client pays the penalty or if they're up for renewal. Great comment, Michelle. Thank you for that. Going back to what I was saying before, make sure you understand these policies, right? We have great BDMs in this industry. Call the BDM. Get them on the phone. The next time they come over with stale donuts and cold coffee, bring these questions up. I'm just joking. They bring warm coffee and fresh donuts. It would make sense to make an Excel spreadsheet for each lender and their policies. I mean, yeah, if you're newer in the business and you keep it clean and simple, absolutely. Lenders down the left side, columns up above with policies, penalty payouts, pay on renewal, all of that stuff.
Yep.
And you just, I mean, if you're slow, like a lot of people, dial for dollars. Your BDMs are more than happy to take your phone call and come over and go through this with you. It's a great time to make connections in the space and to learn products, right? Going back to the example where you mentioned doing an early renewal with said green lender and charging a fee to the client if there is no compensation. It is my understanding that we are not able to charge clients fees if we are doing bank mortgages, as it is frowned upon by the banks. Please confirm. Thanks.
Can confirm.
Frowned upon.
It is frowned upon.
Yes.
Are you going to get cut off? Is it a great big deal? It sort of depends. I mean, is the client filing a complaint?
Is it all about, I mean, man, I think there's a deeper conversation in email or a phone call after this event. I'm always going to err on the side of, I don't ever want to piss off a lender I'm dealing with. I certainly want to keep my nose clean. I want my reputation to be clean. I want to keep my reputation with lenders so clean that if I need that golden pen on a really sideways file once a year, once every 2 years, I want to know that I can at least lean on those lenders and go, look, I don't ever ask for anything. You've never got me on it. You know, that's how I always default. I'd rather take that mulligan down the road than try to get a fee today.
Made a note for myself before I forgot.
Okay. So we're going to take how long?
Well, before we do, on that same topic, I think that it is something that serves us well to back away from feeling like we must make a minimum amount of money, a minimum dollar amount on every transaction, or that we must make any money on every transaction. Most of the top producers on this call, the median producer on this call, in fact, earns as much money as a lawyer earns. And a lot of lawyers do pro bono work. They do pro bono work. They do free work. Not a lot of them, I shouldn't say not a lot of them, not every one of them, but the very successful ones do, because you can't get paid every time you go to work. You just can't. Some things just, sometimes that's just the way it goes. And we have clients that don't close with us, right? But what do? We learn from that experience. And a lot of times I would work a different type of transaction for a client, one form or another, whether it was a private or a midterm refinance or whatever. I would never tell the client I wasn't getting paid on it. I would never tell them I wasn't getting paid on it. I would treat them exactly the way I would treat every other client, and would do the whole file knowing I'm getting paid nothing, or knowing I'm only getting paid on the $82,000 of new money on the $900,000 file, and I would still pay for their appraisal in some cases. So in other words, I would actually lose money on clients' files, because it was important to me that every single client had the Starbucks experience. It doesn't matter what Starbucks you walk into in the world, you're having the same experience every single time. I know you can argue that a little bit depending on some variations, but you get the gist of what I'm trying to say. I wanted my clients talking about the experience they had. And some of my smallest mortgages became my biggest clients, my biggest referral partners, because of the way the process went. And if I'd felt like I had to thump them for a $1,500 minimum transaction fee, I don't think they would have talked highly about me. I don't think they would have come back. So, everybody invests in marketing and advertising somehow, some way. And that was part of how I did it. There would be certain cases where you're just like, I don't have the heart. I don't have the heart to charge you a fee on a private second because you were in a horrific car accident and you had to work for 6 months.
Yep.
Like,
Yep.
You're going down.
Yep.
I'm buying a new suit every 2 months because, like, suddenly life is good. Like,
Yep.
no.
And I've had lenders contact me going, on the disclosure it says that you're charging a broker fee, but that's really low. Maybe your staff made that. No, that's.
Are you sure you're
That's
charging?
a $1,500 fee for the. Wow. Okay. Just wanted to make sure, whatever.
Yeah.
But also going back to, remember that it's, and I'm speaking like to the choir, like I'm speaking to myself. I have to continue to be in the mindset and try to be in the mindset of these people are remembering you and they're choosing you to contact. So if it's $120,000 HELOC, I mean, we can quickly do that math. Man, I'm not gonna, and it's gonna be at a zero balance after 90 days. I'm not making anything on the, dude.
That's a you problem.
They chose you. They remembered you, right? So just being in the mindset of being in that, in that position.
And if you start to tell them you're not making any money, what are you doing now? You're making them feel bad.
Yeah.
And when someone makes you feel bad, makes you feel uncomfortable, do you spend more time with them or less?
Yep.
So don't make them feel bad. It's not their fault you're not getting paid.
Yep.
And if you choose to not get paid the way I did, it's your choice. Why would you complain about your choice to your client? That makes no sense.
Mm-hmm.
But I found it paid off in spades to just, do what needed doing, keep moving forward. And yeah, some months there were a few too many of those transactions in the pipe.